You know the vibes. Just earlier this season, in the preseason in fact, I had the chance to sit down with Mr. Kenny Smith, the Jet. You see him on TNT, you see him balling, winning those championships in the 90s. Well, I had the chance to sit down with him in Abu Dhabi for a preseason game between the Timberwolves and the Mavericks, and we spoke about a few things that I thought you guys might find interesting. So check this out and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel and get buckets.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, welcome, thank you everyone for joining us today at the NBA store here in Abu Dhabi. Appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedule for what's going to be a very fun conversation with a legend of the NBA who's kindly taking time out of his schedule to fly over to the UAE and answer some of our questions and give you guys an insight into his amazing career. We're very excited for this week. As you guys know, we've got 2 NBA preseason games happening. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce the man known as the Jet. Make some noise for Kenny Smith. Kenny, come through, grab a seat, my brother.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Kenny, how's your journey over? How are you finding Abu Dhabi so far?
I'm over my jet lag, so I'm good.
Oh man, it's a blessing to have you here. What does it mean for the NBA to have a presence over here in the Middle East now?
Well, I think just in general, there's been a big presence in sport here in the Middle East, from soccer to golf, tennis. So basketball is a natural transgression. So I'm not surprised. We need to be here. I'm enjoying it. I think as fans, we have some great fans here, but we also have some great people that will become fans. Yeah. And so I'm excited about that.
Now, we've got 2 talented teams that are going to be hitting the court. We've got the Timberwolves and the Mavericks. What are you most looking forward to, and which players are you most looking forward to seeing out there?
Well, I think I've seen both of these teams before.
Just a few times. Just a few times.
So I'm actually just, this is a great time. The preseason is going to be actually competitive because we have a lot of new players trying to make the team. So they'll be playing extremely hard to be part of the team. And then you have some other players who will be playing for playing time. So then we have Luka, then we have Kyrie, then we have Ant-Man and Karl Anthony Towns and all of those guys, great players, but it'll be really competitive, especially the first preseason game of the year is always the most competitive. So it's going to be fun.
Do you remember the first preseason game of your career?
I do. I really do. My career was against Golden State Warriors. So my first preseason game, not my regular season game, but I remember that. First time you put on that NBA jersey and it has your name on it instead of someone else's name on it. Like he's wearing someone else. He's wearing, I think, who was that? Orlando? Is
Shaq?
That a Penny or Shaq? Yeah, so it's the first time you're wearing a jersey with your own name on it.
Man, that must have been a special feeling. But can you tell us what your favorite moment, if you had to pick one moment from your NBA career that you will always cherish above everything else?
Wow, my favorite moment, you said NBA.
Yeah, NBA. We are the NBA store.
No, I'm just saying because basketball in general, my favorite moment, it was my first college game. Because the NBA was a dream far away. But when you play in the States, you play in high school, and you only play in front of 400 people. And then when you go to college, there we're practicing in an arena that holds 16,000, but nobody's in it. It's empty. You're practicing in an empty arena. And so the first time I walked out and I saw the band playing and the cheerleaders flipping and I'm walking out, I'm like, oh, I made it. It's filled with people. So to see, instead of playing in front of seats, you're playing in front of people, 16,000. That was probably my most memorable moment. And then in the NBA, it's a collage. No, not just a championship, honestly, because it's like, the NBA is not a moment, it's a journey. So it's a collage of pictures that happen throughout so it's everything. Even today, it's still part of it, the NBA. The reason I'm here in Abu Dhabi is because of the NBA, so that's part of the collage now. So everything kind of continues. It's not a moment like a basketball moment. Like you could score points all the time, but I don't know if there's one moment.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. And obviously now, you're having a very successful TV career on was, in my opinion, the best show on TV.
Thank you.
But if we had a time machine and we could take prime Kenny Smith from early in his career and put him in the NBA today, which team would you want to play on?
I would play on any of them, honestly, but I would want to, Milwaukee with Giannis would be great.
Oh, you're taking minutes from Dame now.
No, I'm going to, they wouldn't need Dame.
Oh, they wouldn't need
They
Dame.
wouldn't need Dame. They wouldn't need Dame. Because actually the way I played is very similar to what the Dave's game is. I was really, a three-point shooter, could shoot the ball pretty well from that. I could shoot very well, okay, from there. And then I was also a high flyer. So I dunked. So that's what you see today in the game today, dunks and threes. So today's game, I was just born too early. Just born too early.
Man. Well, you had a very successful career. You got a few championships on your way as well with the Rockets. And so I do my podcast is with BJ Armstrong, who is from the Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
And he won a few championships as well.
Yeah.
And when I told him I was sitting down with Kenny this week, he says, man, we got to get Kenny on the show because we got to have a debate.
Okay.
Would your Houston Rockets have beaten those Chicago Bulls if you had met in the finals?
For those who don't know, we'll explain the scenario. So the Chicago Bulls won 3 championships in a row with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan then retired. And then he played baseball and he was a terrible baseball player. Then he came back to the NBA. But in those 2 years, we won the 2 years. They came back and they won 3. 2 things. First of all, yes, we would have beat them. Yes, we would have beat them. Secondly, he was there one of those years. He was wearing number 45. And when they lost, when he was playing in that season, when he came back at number 45, when he had 55 points in Madison Square Garden, no one was saying, oh, he's rusty. He scored 55 points in a game. In the NBA playoffs, he was averaging 31 points a game. He wasn't rusty as most people would think. They lost to the Orlando Magic, Shaquille O'Neal. They lost to them 4 games to 2. We beat the Orlando Magic 4 games to 0. We did not lose to them. So yes, we would have beat them. And there was another reason.
Okay.
They were too small at that time. This is before they had Dennis Rodman and Horace Grant had left. So without Horace Grant or without Dennis Rodman, they could not beat us. Now with Dennis Rodman, I'm not sure what would happen. But without Dennis Rodman there's no one. We had a guy that you guys will know, Hakeem Olajuwon, who they could not defend. No way.
I don't think anyone could defend.
Not with those 2 guys. Not without those 2 guys being there. It's impossible. It would have been impossible for them to beat us.
Well, I hear what you're
Impossible.
saying. It makes a lot of sense, but I know a few people that might disagree, so we're going to have to get you on the hoop.
I'll give you I'll give you one more stat.
Okay.
To take back to Chicago.
Okay.
Check our record against, now it's the regular season. Check our record in the regular season, the first 3 championships that they won. We were 6-1. I think 5-1 against them. We only lost them 1 time in the time that they were winning championships. Because they could not guard Hakeem Olajuwon.
You make a good
Kenny
case.
Smith or Vernon Maxwell.
You make a great case, but I know BJ is going to have a few things to say, so shout out to him as well. But you mentioned Dame Lillard earlier, saying that if you were playing today, you could play for Milwaukee. Is Dame the player that reminds you most of yourself when you watch the NBA right now, or is there one player that stands
No,
out?
Dame is a much better shooter and a much better player than I think, in terms of errors of what he's doing. But very similar in terms of, I didn't shoot as far as he does. But the question was, who reminds me? Or?
Yeah, who do you look at and you think that's the closest to you that you would see in the NBA right now?
Well, different stages. When I was younger, I could do, not all the things, but some of the things like getting, at speed-wise, getting up and down like Ja Morant. So I was very slight like he was. So you're getting up and down, jumping and dunking. I was in dunk contests and all that kind of stuff. Then as you get older, there's a little Dame, a little, kind of stand a little bit more perimeter. But those are the great players in the league. So some of the guys I would mention that I play like, you'd be like, who is that? So I'm only mentioning great players, but those two.
I think we've got some dedicated fans in the house. They might know.
I'll stay with you. But I'd rather compare myself to the greats.
Oh, man, I hear it. I hear it. Imagine there's a world we have Kenny time instead of Dame time.
Exactly.
Obviously, speaking of Dame and the Milwaukee Bucks, they're very strong now. I wanted to ask you a few questions about this upcoming NBA season because we're all looking forward to seeing you on Inside the NBA. But who are the two teams that you're looking at thinking they're going to be in the finals coming up this season?
I really believe before the season starts, there are going to be two more huge trades. Because, obviously James Harden is not there. He's not playing. And there's about 2 or 3 other teams that I don't think they could sit the way they are and figure that they're contenders when they have MVP type caliber players. So I just don't think these are the teams. But if I had to say today, Denver Nuggets are going to be right around there, without question. The Joker didn't get worse; he got better this year. He's going to be better, and those Milwaukee Bucks with Dame Lillard is going to be impossible to guard offensively. So they're going to be impossible because you ever hear when you hear the announcers, even we say it on TNT, when you watch the Milwaukee Bucks, they're going to build a wall around Giannis to stop him. It's impossible to build a wall with Dame Lillard on the floor. It's impossible to leave Dame Lillard to put someone up front. And then Middleton, it's impossible. So they're going to be the most difficult team to guard offensively, I think, in the NBA.
I like the Celtics, but that's another conversation for another
I mean, they're
time.
really good. The Celtics are really good, but I don't know if they got better because they have, they got rid of Marcus Smart. They got rid of Brogdon now. They got rid of Williams. So it's not the same team. So now I have to see what this new collection of Celtics look like.
Which move from the offseason was the biggest surprise? When it hits your phone and you're like, really? Like, which was the most surprising move you saw?
Well, Dame. Yeah. I mean, we all thought he was going to Miami. He even said, I want to go to Miami. I want to be there. And we thought that Portland would accommodate him to get him there. And so that, to me, when it said Milwaukee Bucks, I was like, what? Like, that's far away from, that's like Abu Dhabi? Like, he got traded to Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, no, that was a big shock. It was, and Milwaukee culturally is so different to Miami.
Yeah, 100%.
But we're going to see how it goes. I want to get some of your predictions now on the individual side of things. So who is your MVP prediction for this season coming up?
I think the MVP will go to Giannis this year.
You're not worried about Dame taking some of those
No, that's only going
points
to
off
help
the board?
him. That's only going to help him. The same way James Harden helped Embiid, it just will help him score easily. He will score so much more easier than he's ever scored in his life. I just remember, and I wasn't nowhere, like I said, I'm not nowhere near the player that Dame Lillard was, but I just remember, going to Houston and playing my first game with Hakeem Olajuwon. And it was the easiest 15 points, 16 points I ever had in my life. I averaged before there, I averaged 18 points a game. But every game, after the game, I would have to sit in a bath of ice. I would have to eat properly, get proper rest. Play with Hakeem, you could stay out all night and eat junk food and get 17 points.
It sounds like you want me on the roster.
And it's easy. It was so much easier playing with a great player. And Giannis playing with Dame is going to be great.
Absolutely, offensively, he draws so much attention, going to get some open looks, but on the defensive side of the ball, you played with one of the greatest shot blockers and even bigs with the ability to switch on the perimeter in Hakeem Olajuwon. Who do you think is going to be the defensive player of the year this year?
Well, that's a difficult question, only because obviously there's, the Draymond Greens and the Giannis as well. They play great. Rudy Gobert, they play great defense. But I think we're going to see the best defensive player come from the best team in the league because it's going to be the guy who's making the impact and wins. And I don't know which guy is going to make. I don't know if Rudy Gobert, who's here in Abu Dhabi, is his defense going to impact winning the way some of the other guys might. Is Draymond's defense going to impact winning this year? Like, that's going to be the difference. They all play great defense, but Marcus Smart. But is it going to impact winning?
Drew Holiday, maybe.
Drew Holiday. So
Out of all the rookies that have come into the league, Wembanyama's getting a lot of the headlines. That means guys like Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson might have a little chip on their shoulder. Which rookie do you think, because we've also got Chet Holmgren, who sat out last season, he's had it all through Ward. Who do you think is going to be the rookie of the year?
And I just went blank when you said he's at Utah, went to Baylor. That kid, when I think it was that, I just went blank. But he's going Utah, rookie, Baylor. Remember that. I need the guard. He's the guard. He really impressed me. I watched him play 3 times in person. He was really impressive, even though I can't remember his name. And then I do like Scoot. However, sometime when you're on, I don't know what type of team Portland's going to be in terms of, are they going to be a good team? Are they not? And when you're not on a good team, I call it sometimes you get empty calories. Like you're doing things that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So sometimes the voters don't look at that. But Wembanyama is going to be the one that we're all looking to see. I mean, the guy couldn't fit in his door. I want to see him play.
Absolutely. Which players do you think are going to take the biggest leap? Who will be the most improved player that people might not have been taking notice of before, but you think is going to have a breakout season?
This is going to sound weird, but I really believe Russell Westbrook is going to have a breakout season.
I love that.
I think as someone who we've seen play great now will be great again. I think he will have the season that we most look at and go, wow, he's back to close to what we think he is because of the position he's in with the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, and we saw flashes of that in the playoffs, with the Clippers against the Suns. He was playing amazing basketball.
Yeah.
But now I've got a tough one for you just to end this conversation a little bit. You've played with some of the best players of all time, you work with some of the best players of all time, and obviously we're watching some of the best players of all time and their careers unfold right now. I need from you your all-time starting 5 of NBA players if you were building your ultimate team.
Well, my ultimate team doesn't mean they're the best players. My ultimate team are the players I love to watch. So, it's kind of like...
You can give us both. You can give us
like
your
music.
favorite and...
Well, that's the same. It's going to be the same. I'm not going to change it.
Okay.
Because it's like music. Like if I go in my car, I'm going to listen to certain type of music that you might not like, but I think it's the best. It doesn't I think basketball opinions like that is the same. At center, I'm going to go with Hakeem Olajuwon.
Have to.
I'm going to go with Hakeem Olajuwon. At power forward, I'm going to go with Tim Duncan. I'm going by position as well. At small forward,
That's tough.
I'm going to go with LeBron James. Mm-hmm. At shooting guard, it's not even close, Michael Jordan. And at the point,
That might be the hardest one.
I'm going with Irvin Magic Johnson. It's not hard.
Not Steph Curry?
Over Magic Johnson?
I'm just saying. The greatest shooter to ever play.
No, you said shooter.
I'd like that shooting on my
I
team.
said the best point guard.
I'd like that shooting on my
The
team.
best point guard that ever played basketball is Magic Johnson because of his ability. I'll say this. If you're on the court with Magic Johnson, you become a better scorer. So that's a point guard to me. You become better player, scorer, because he's on the court. Does anyone become a better scorer because Steph's on the court? I'm asking you.
A better scorer.
Yeah.
You can make the case that Andrew Wiggins being an all-star selection in the starting lineup has a lot to do with him playing alongside Steph
So
Curry.
you would say that his ratio of points came from the fact that Steph passed him the ball?
No, not directly.
Then there is.
The gravity
Not
that Steph
directly.
brings.
Not directly. I'm talking about a direct correlation between you being better is that guy.
But it can't always be tracked in direct passes because if Steph attracts 2 defenders, that means maybe the player next to him's not open, but the player in the corner's open.
Well-
so that's one pass away. That's a hockey assist.
I'm gonna tell you, because you're younger than I am.
Just by a little bit.
Magic Johnson attracted 2 players, and then he found you. So he did that as well. So his ability to, graphically improve the way you play because he's on the court would be Magic Johnson, John Stockton. I look at Steph as more of a hybrid, not really he's a guard. He doesn't handle the basketball as much. He doesn't make all of the decisions. Great, one of the greatest, probably one of the top 10 players that ever played when it's all said and done, he might be. But is he the best point guard? No, not even close.
Okay, I respect it, Kenny.
Not even close.
I respect it. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. Kenny Smith, give us some of his time. Appreciate it, brother.
I hope you guys enjoyed listening to that interview. If you haven't yet, follow me on social media because you get to see all of this stuff way before it hits YouTube. And of course, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to the other channel. It's all in the description. You know all that good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next video. Get buckets.